The presentation today is about the Greek myth of the Chimera. For some myth background, the Chimera was a hybrid female monster composed of different animal parts. It had the body of a lion, a goat's head on its back, and a venomous serpent for a tail. It breathed fire, which burnt villages and caused devastation in Lycia, which is modern-day Turkey. And this caused a fear of fire and destruction in the villagers. King Iobates ordered the hero Bellerophon to slay the Chimera and expected him to fail. But with the help of the winged horse Pegasus, Bellerophon attacked from above and killed the monster by driving a lead-tipped spear into its throat, which melted it from the inside.
To continue off of what Michaela just outlined, the Chimera comes from Greek mythology. Ancient Greek culture was very well immersed in its mythology and used Greek mythology to kind of seldom express all of the inner workings of their universe, such as fire. The Chimera was a Greek monster that was slain by a Greek hero atop Pegasus, and was kind of well revered as being a very dangerous Greek monster. And monsters in mythology were typically slain or battled by heroes in order to present allegories for humans at the time, to keep them out of wrongdoing. The Chimera particularly represents dangers posed by fire and other different dangers that can be opposed. Continuing off of that, other dangers that can be opposed or faced when dealing with such an intense element such as fire. So essentially, the Chimera is representative of a warning towards ancient Greek people of what the elements can expose them to if they're not careful.
Now let's take a look at the culture that surrounded ancient Greek mythology in ancient Greece itself. Ancient Greece was a very large empire that surrounded much of the Mediterranean Sea in the Mediterranean region and had coverage on 3 continents. Now, mythology was a very integral part of the religious and spiritual life of the people in ancient Greece. Mythology explained the creation of life, natural disasters, the changing of the seasons, things that people couldn't quite explain yet. Mythology gave an explanation for these people. In this case, the Chimera did explain the natural phenomena of fire, and myths such as this were very widely taught and celebrated around Greek culture. This example in particular was not quite celebrated, but it was very widely spread and showed up in ancient Greek art. Much of the art that was created at the time surrounded mythology and different stories that were told, and people celebrated the moral lessons of Greek mythology and used this to guide their own lives. These lessons shared values like bravery, humility, loyalty, and respect for the gods, and this was very important for these people at this time.
Here is a map of ancient Greece, and this is the area that the Chimera originated from.
The story of the Chimera was meant to represent a multitude of different strengths based off of each animal that made up the Chimera. The lion, obviously, the strength and loyalty. The cunning and the stubbornness was from the goat, and the serpent was meant to resemble venomous and the chaotic nature. As a whole, this beast really embodied this idea of pure, unrestrained fear that is able to occur and chaotic power. And all that was also meant to really have a higher meaning of symbolism with nature's unpredictability. And a kind of a hidden theme was more of like when the blend of terror and a blend of these different entities kind of formed together into one um this one bigger sense of danger or terror. And overall, the story's testament was also meant to be it's supposed to be a like a nod to the rich complexity and the imaginative depth of Greek mythology as a whole. And this beast, that Chimera, was meant to yes, it was an adversary. It was definitely a force to be reckoned with. It was also designed for psychological warfare, um, and not in forms of like, oh, it's great strength or great power, or it's super stubborn, or it's chaotic, but it was meant to embody all of these things into just this message of like fear and dread, is upon us. And the story about the Battle of the Chimera's death was meant to signify a broader theme of Greek mythology that was supposed to be a testament to the individual's ability to overcome insurmountable odds, and the testament to the human spirit of ingenuity and resilience in order to defeat the Chimera. And culturally, this wasn't just a story of nightmares. It was meant also to kind of explain some of the natural order or natural world phenomena that would occur and kind of help bring some understanding to the unexplainable things that this culture was experiencing as well. And the impact that it had on the Greek culture in that time, and also as time progressed, was this broader message that good will triumph over evil. There is always a way to explain something that happens in the natural world or phenomena that are kind of hard to explain or frightening. And it had this message of also to be feared but to be respected in the exact same breath. All of that propelled the Greeks' culture and spirit of grit and perseverance through any times that they're are going through.
Learned from this myth, the Chimera is a representation of our own personal fears. These could be things like fear of failure, change, or rejection. The myth demonstrates courage in the face of adversity. Bellerophon's story is a testament of courage. He stepped up and faced Chimera as well as his own limitations and insecurities and came out victorious despite the odds. This myth encourages us to accept the challenge of confronting our personal fears and be courageous and resilient. Another lesson from the myth is bravery as a collective experience. Heroes don't often face their challenges alone, but are supported by family, friends, or mentors. The myth encourages us to seek a support system that will help us face our personal fears. Overall, the myth of Chimera reminds us that embracing challenges is a part of the path towards personal growth.
And here is our works cited.